Oh, isn't that so beautiful? The piece you are listening to right now is Depuis le Jour with singer and soprano Golda Zahra. What is it about opera that just makes me feel better? True story. Listen to the music that Zara sent me that you're going to get the pleasure of hearing throughout this interview at our breaks. Listen to the music all day yesterday. And then couldn't get enough. I'd already put the soundtrack together and I found her on Spotify and played everything I could find there. And I played the music for the last 6 hours. It's just beautiful. And I don't know, but it makes me why, but it makes me feel better. When I listen to Golda sing, I can't help but remember my own fall days exploring Italy. Friends and laughter and good wine, enjoyed in nice restaurants, the smell of a good cappuccino and long sunny mornings, wearing nice fabrics and good fragrances, fast sports cars, and winding country roads. Do you know what I'm talking about? So, what is it about a great soprano that makes me feel this way? When I listen to opera, I feel smarter. I feel elevated in my thinking. It's true. It elevates my view of the world. I feel hopeful. It's a whole different appreciation for music. My special guest today probably knows what I'm talking about. She has dedicated her life to opera. Golda Zahra began her operatic journey when she was just 4 years old, listening to and attending operas with her parents. Golda has performed in famed Southern California venues, including the Walt Disney Hall, the Royce Hall, and the Saban Theater. She's a Los Angeles native, and in 2015, she won the LA Spotlight Award. She is the winner on July 13th, this coming next week. Golda will join the Dream Orchestra, conducted by Maestro Daniel Suk, for her groundbreaking debut concert at the Broad Stage in Santa Monica. And in a truly full circle moment, Daniel Suk helped foster Golda's talent and development as a live performer starting at a very young age. You don't want to miss this concert. I'm going to be there. Please come say hi if you see me and get your own ticket. We're going to let you know how here in a little bit. Golda currently studies exclusively with the world-renowned soprano Barbara Frittoli in Milan. Frittoli, excuse me. Golda, welcome back to the show.
It's great to be back.
It's great to see you. It's last time I saw you, you were in Italy, and it was very late at night, if I remember correctly.
Yes, it was.
And you joined your father and I on the show, and I just couldn't wait to have you back to talk about your amazing career to this point and this debut concert in Santa Monica, back in your hometown of LA. Again, congratulations on
Thank
this
you so much.
upcoming concert. Yeah,
Thank
really great.
It's great to be back. As you can tell, I have the same background as my dad, so you can tell I'm back home. I'm not in Italy anymore, but it's really wonderful to be back, and I'm so excited to be able to have this homecoming moment and to be able to share what I've worked so hard on to all the people I love and my community. It's really great.
That's a great way to put it. You because we're going to get into uh, your history and the dedication, the hard work, as you said, that you've put into this incredible voice that you have and this incredible talent. Um, again, we're going to showcase your music throughout the show here today. But what a great way to put that to show appreciation and pay back the people that have got you here to this point. Um, so speaking of that, I love this. I don't know if it's true or not, but in your bio, you went to your first opera when you were 4 years old with your parents. What do you remember distinctly about that experience? And why do you think it impacted your life so much that you've made it your life.
Mm. So I guess that's like 21 years ago because I'm 25 now. So I'm trying to piece everything,
Yeah,
all the moments together because that's a long time ago. But the thing I think that caught my attention the most about opera was the sets. I loved the story. My parents took me to see the Magic Flute when at LA Opera at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion um, a long time ago. And the thing I loved about it was how colorful everything was. I remember seeing all the costumes and the makeup and the people, and everything was so colorful and beautiful. And I mean, as a kid, like when my parents, when the opera was over and we got in our car and we were driving back to West Hollywood because I was living in West Hollywood at the time. I remember that was just like blabbering, like just making like annoying noises in the car, like kids, but it was kind of in tune. So my parents saw that and they're like, well, she is kind of in tune. Maybe we should just try to put her into music and see if it sticks. So I think, I don't know, I think the whole experience in itself inspired me and it was just something I liked and it gave me that much like joy that I just kind of like uh, kind of hummed and sang in the car because of that. So it's it's interesting. You never.
it is interesting. Were you actually singing? Did you remember the songs and the words, or were you making up your own? You were inspired,
Oh, I was making up my own. I
making up
was 4 years old. I was making up my own. I shouldn't even call it singing noises, you know.
your.
But I guess it was in tune.
Yeah, well, it is for sure. It is now. I'm sure that was a lot of hard work, but from that
Definitely, if it
inspiration.
ain't in tune, there's a problem.
It's interesting because at 4 years old, that could have gone. Your parents were brave because that could have gone a couple different ways, and it inspired you. Do you think they took you there to inspire you? I mean, you could have. A lot of kids at that age can't keep track of, but you were just in awe. You were
I was like,
mesmerized by
my
the
eyes
sets and
were
the colors
glued
and the
to the
music.
stage. My eyes were like glued to the stage. Like I didn't like I was just like staring. And this was like the same. I mean, I don't think my parents did it on purpose to try to like, I don't know, cultivate the opera love. I mean, my parents are like in the last interview that you talked with my dad, my parents have always been music lovers and they've always listened to so many different genres. And I mean, I even last night I hear like the Earth Cafe soundtrack when we have dinner and I hear like Armstrong, Air Supply, Dinah Washington. I just hear so many different genres in one. So I think they just brought me there to maybe, I don't know, share their love of music with me, even at a young age. And I think you're right. It could have gone both ways. It could have been, or a very interested, like, wow, I want to, like, what happened? Wow, I want to learn music. I want to start doing music. Or it could have been like, oh, wow, what an annoying opera. Gee, thanks, Dad. It could have gone two different ways, but I'm so grateful it went one way, not the other. So,
Well, it also could have you because you were fascinated and drawn to the sets, as you
yeah.
said, and the performances and the color. So it
Yeah.
could have gone to a set designer or something in
Yeah.
theater or an actor, right? But
Or visual arts even, or
isn't it
makeup.
weird?
Yeah, I feel like there's some type of, I don't know. I like to believe that there's a destiny in each of our lives and we do something because I don't want to say like I don't want to go really religious into it, but it's maybe some type of destiny like it was supposed to happen. You know what I mean? So uh,
I would agree with you because it could have gone, as we've already said, so many different ways, but it actually stuck with you, and that's quite a dedication that you've made to this genre. And this,
knock on
I
wood.
know you sing other things, but
Yeah.
it wasn't a light decision. It was a lifetime decision, and it probably didn't happen at 4, but something stuck there, right?
Yeah, and what you said is correct. It really is a lifetime decision because when you dedicate yourself to like singing, you unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, you can't really have a normal life. Like you have to like, because I was talking to someone about this the other day. Musicians, like a pianist, when they play, because I also when I was started from 4, my parents put me into classical piano. So I'm not that good anymore because of my nails don't allow me to play like I used to. But when you play the piano and you're done, you close the lid and you're done. The piano's closed, it's resting. Instead, singers, we have, with our larynx and our vocal cords, we have our instrument in our body. So it's like you can't go like, go to a club the night before your concert, or if you have an important audition, you can't eat spicy foods or drink too much. So it's like you said, it's a real dedication, to it. You have to be 100% like, this is the thing I love to do. This is what brings me joy, and I'm going to dedicate it 360 degrees, to make sure that it goes well, that I could do my best. So
Yeah, and you have. And let's talk about you mentioned that you studied classical piano and musical
yeah.
theater. You joined the Coburn Music School in downtown Los Angeles. I looked it up a little bit. I was interested. It's a private performing arts school
Mhm.
in Los Angeles with a focus on music and dance, and has four divisions: the Conservatory of Music, the Music Academy, Community School of Performing Arts, and the Trudy Zipper Dance Institute. And
Yes.
it's here that has been said that you decided to dedicate your life to opera. What do you remember the moment? Do you remember when you said, "This is it"? Because so many kids at that age, at your age, going to school, they come up with a lot of things that they're interested in, and some of them
Yeah.
don't stick. Again, major dedication to opera. And tell us about that moment and why you made that decision, if you remember why and how you felt. And
Yeah, I feel like, as like you said, a lot of kids, they don't, maybe not even until you're an adult, you don't know what your life's calling is, what you want to do. So it is something very strange. Well, not strange, it's unique. And I truly feel blessed for that. I think I just remember that opera, I don't want to say it was the easiest thing, because nothing comes easy, but it was a thing that came the most automatic for me. Like when I sang, it was the type of singing, when I sang opera instead of like, pop or jazz or even musical theater, which I'm going back to now actually in my concert. I'm bringing those things back so I can have more of a wide audience. But when I sang opera, when I was 12 or 13, I noticed that was something that really moved people. And I said, well, like, if I'm able to move people, maybe I'm doing something right. Maybe I should focus on this 100%. And if I move people now, maybe in 10, 20 years, I can move people even more. So I think that was a thing that really made me want to focus 100% on that genre. But then, as I said, I'm starting to do a lot more crossovers now. I'm starting to how can I say, I'm starting to have more of a plethora of genres. Uh, because I think, you never know which audience you want to have. And I feel like if you just like close the audience off and only do classical music, m- maybe some people that have never heard classical music before might be a little bit intimidated to go see a classical music concert. So maybe bringing some musical theater, like, West Side Story, or some crossover pieces. Like, this concert, I'm gonna be singing a piece from The Celtic Woman called The Blessing that is very beautiful. I'm doing a whole medley actually of it. That's a kind of way to like kind of like bring people to show that, music is all the same. Classical music, pop, jazz, musical theater. You just have to have the heart, and you have to, I feel like, put your heart on your hand and just give it to the audience, and that's what makes it special.
yeah, there's so much there that I want to comment on. One that you made your choice of an opera because you saw how it affected people,
Yeah.
and that was something you were drawn to. Um, you you started with opera and the classical training. I think you can go anywhere from that after that, right? I mean, how
Exactly.
often do people, how many girls your age, women your age, young women your age, go in, make a dedicated decision like this, and then a study, uh, rather than, it's a very, I said it in the beginning, elevated, mature, wise decision, I think, that you made, and you stuck to it, and
Yeah,
you can go
because
anywhere.
like as you said, like if you have a good, like, I feel like vocal technique is all the same. If you have a good, solid operatic classical technique, you can bring that into jazz, you can bring that into musical theater. It's just how you place the voice. You know what I mean? It's I'm not going to get really technical into it, but it's where you place the voice that makes it like musical, and it makes it jazz, and it makes it classical. And I feel like any great singer could do it. Like I mean, I'm kind of derailing here, but you made me think of like when you said about like the technique. I recently listened to the Cowboy Carter new album from Beyonce, and there's a song where she's literally singing in an operatic classical music type technique. I'm like, wow, and this is Beyonce. You know, it shows that if you're a good singer, a well-rounded singer, have good technique, you could do anything, you know? I think dedicating your life to music, to art, is something that you really have to be really 100% sure of. Like I said,
Committed.
committed, yeah, because it brings a lot of blessings, but you also have to sacrifice a lot of things that normal people can't really do. Like I always make the example of going to the club before the concert, but that's maybe because it's me being a kind of like a crazy 25-year-old. But it's like, maybe I'd want to go out and have a couple drinks and party with my friends, but I know, oh dang it, tomorrow I have like an important, you know, audition or competition or something I have to sing. So it brings a lot of blessings, but you also have to, like, you know, with what was that? It was a Spider-Man phrase, with great power comes great responsibility. You know, it's kind of like that type of picture, you know.
I like it. I like it. Okay, let's go back to, so now you're graduating in high school, right? And
Yeah.
2017, do I have that year right?
Yeah, 2017, yeah.
Okay, and then you decide at what point I'm going to move to Italy, and really I've made it my life commitment to pursue it, and you're following through. It wasn't a whim,
Mhm.
and you take it to the next level. You moved to Italy.
Yeah.
What was okay? So I got so many questions on this one too, but how old were you at this time?
So at the time I was thinking, because my this is kind of crazy, because when I say this, my dream before Italy even came into the picture was to live in New York, was to study in New York and stay in Manhattan. That was my dream. I wanted to go to or Manhattan School of Music or Juilliard. And at the time they even offered me to, you know, to go to both the university, the both of the colleges, and with great deals. But then out of nowhere, I found this. It was actually at the Broad stage. This is why this is a truly a full circle moment. There was a very famous Italian tenor that he came to sing at the Broad stage, and he's a character. He's truly a divo. And I remember that he had an encore where he invited the audience to sing with him, and I was trying to be kind of like, oh, I can sing also. So I was trying to sing a little bit over the audience, just like, you know, I was 16 at the time. And he heard me, and he said right after the this encore, he said, "Is there a soprano in the hall? Is there an opera singer?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's me, that's me, that's me." He brought me up on stage. We sang a duet,
Wow.
very famous, from La Traviata. And after the show, I asked him, I said, you know, because he was, you know, he still is. He's a very famous tenor. He has a great voice, a really amazing singer. And I wanted to know who he studied from. And so I said, could you please maybe give me at least the name or the number, or direct me to where you think I could sing, where I could study. And
Good
so
for you.
yeah, and so he gave me
Brave.
a number of a teacher in Italy, and that's basically how it all started. So I started with this teacher, and then I realized that I really loved Italy. I loved Italian culture, and I stuck there. I didn't.
So were your parents, were they support, obviously they're supportive.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
their fault you're moving, their little daughter is moving away to Italy. But were they, I mean, your dad, I just can't, I just imagine your dad, he loves you so much, and he was probably so protective.
Well,
Uh
yeah, but
how
you know, my
yeah.
dad loves Italy. My dad is obsessed, like obsessed with Italy, so much so that he even started learning Italian when I moved there. So for him, it was like, yeah, you do you, girl. You're in great hands. We trust you. And I feel like for a teenager, I was showing that I was more of a mature teenager. I wasn't so, like, you know, I wasn't so crazy as usual teenagers are. My mom was a little bit more worried, but she realized that I had my head upon my shoulders.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I wasn't that crazy. And so she was just okay. But fortunately, yeah, you're right. They really supported me in this, and they saw the potential, and they trusted the process. And thank goodness I'm here.
I
Not,
think you're so brave, by the way. I think that's so brave at that age to make that decision and then stick to it and then move to Italy and then find the right people to train with.
Thank you so
Did
much.
you say how old you were? Were you probably
I
17,
was,
somewhere around there?
oh God,
High school?
I was 17. I moved there when I was 18. So I moved there in June. Actually, I left America the day after my high school graduation. It was June 2nd, 2020, no, 2020, what am I saying? 2017, 2020. Oh my God. Um, and yeah, I've been,
All right. So tell me, where did you move? What town?
oh God, if I tell you, oh my
Oh, you
God.
don't have to tell me if it's a
I'm not
secret.
gonna, it's no, it's not because it's a secret, but it's in the middle of nowhere. I moved to literally like the middle of nowhere.
Why was that? Was that where your
That was where the
person
teacher
you
was.
wanted to?
That was
Okay.
the one, the teacher I was working at the time. He lived in this small, tiny, I'm not gonna say dumpy, but tiny, tiny village, like with 500 people. The population was literally
And
500.
you're coming from LA.
I'm coming from LA, and 500 inhabitants, in which all of them were senior citizens. So every day the population was decreasing. And so I moved there for the first 6 months, but then I realized, okay, so it was a little bit too much for me. It was too tiny. I don't have a car. I don't know what to do. And so I
You're
moved.
18.
Yeah, it's like I'm in the middle of like I'm in a town with just a bunch of old people. That was really truly sticking to just singing and that's it. But then I moved to Rovigo, which is a town I would like to say like an hour and something away from Venice, but it's still like it's not even the size of Beverly Hills where I moved to. So
So I remember when I moved to you, I went to USC from Santa Barbara. It's only 90 minutes, right, from
that's
home.
not bad.
But no, it's not bad. But my dad dropped me off, and I was in Santa Monica, right down
Yeah.
off Third Street. And I remember feeling so, when he left, so lonely, kind of scared because I had him. All I knew about LA was what I'd seen in gang movies, like colors
That's
and
a
stuff,
bad. You're
Training
out of
Day.
Compton.
Yeah. So but I remember feeling it was like so that feeling of like you're detached from your what you knew. Now you're on your own. Were you lonely? Were you scared? Did you know the language? I mean, how were you feeling?
Oh, the language I did not know. Oh man. I was studying Italian because I speak fluent French, and so I still actually I'm still close friends with my middle school French teacher who's from Orléans, France. And we still communicate, and so I have thanks to her, I have a really great knowledge of French, and we still have a great relationship. And so I'm obsessed with France. I'm lo in love with the French culture. So I came to Italy basically with only 2 months of Italian classes, knowing a lot of French. And the thing about Italy that not a lot of people tell you, but each region has its own dialect. So especially like older people, and it's not even slang. It's basically a completely different language. So I was in the middle of this little like, like hillbilly type town with a bunch of old, village people like coming from LA, and they're only speaking to me in Venetian dialect, and I couldn't even speak Italian. So I think that was the best way to learn Italian, because for survival you had to speak or else no one would understand.
Right.
You can't be like, oh, call your friend that speaks English. There is no friend that speaks English.
Well, looking back now at that little town, a little city with an older generation of Italian men and women, you probably learned a lot more, whether you liked it at the time, about the culture. Would you trade that for anything now, or would you?
No, I wouldn't. And
Do you
actually,
see it as valuable?
no, it's super valuable, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. And this is actually something interesting. It's kind of well, no, it's not really off topic. Like for example, I have my boyfriend's Italian, and he doesn't speak English very well, and he really, really wants to learn English and maybe come to America, even have a little bit of an American experience. And he's like, "Oh, how did you learn Italian?" And I said, "You want to know how I learned Italian?" I was in the middle of nowhere with nobody that spoke English. So I feel like if anyone wants to learn a new language, whether they're Italian, they want to learn English, they're Japanese, they want to learn Spanish, you have to like basically pick yourself up, put yourself in the town where no one speaks your language, and you're just forced to speak that language, or else they won't
You
understand.
got it. Drop him in the middle of LA.
Yeah, I think that
He'll learn quickly.
I'm gonna drop him in the middle of West Hollywood and see if he can survive.
Oh, that's great. Well, we got to take a break here in a second, but and I'm going to move on from this.
Yeah.
I'm just so in love with the idea of you as a young American, first time in Italy, and going to study something that is so probably deeply ingrained and historical in Italy as a music genre, right? Like
Yeah, it's a part,
going,
big part of their culture, you know?
yeah. And
Yeah.
let's talk about that on the other side of the break, but about opera and all that and the history. And uh, how about Golda and Italy? I know you're in LA right now,
Yeah.
but you were in Italy up until a
I
few weeks
was.
ago. What's Golda like 18 and Golda like at 25 in Italy now? Are you
Oh,
fluent? Are you're you're a local, right?
I'm a local, but for fluency, I'm just gonna say that I'm able to keep a conversation about politics in Italian. And I feel like in any language, once you're able to talk about politics or even more complain about politics and politicians in that language, then you're at a pretty good level.
You'll pass anywhere.
Yeah.
Get all worked up.
Yeah.
Your hands a lot more than you used to when
I
you
use
talk.
my hands a lot. Actually, it's true. I do talk a lot with my hands, and especially when I'm on the phone. I can't, unfortunately, I can't do this now, but when I'm on the phone, I have to be pacing or walking. I don't know if it's the Italian, I don't know what it is, but I have to be moving. It's like if they sit me in a chair and they tie my hands to my back, I don't talk. I stay quiet. So,
You stay quiet. That's great. Okay. So now you're back in LA. First you had a culture shock of when you were 18 going to Italy. Now you're back from Italy in LA in your hometown. Is there culture shock coming back?
um,
Anything that stood out to you differently or you were
well, I feel like because when what I said earlier, when I was a kid, I really didn't appreciate LA. I didn't really appreciate my town. I wanted to go to the East Coast as bad as I can. I felt like I was a New Yorker. I didn't want to be a part of here. But this time that I came back, I'm seeing LA in a different light, and I really appreciate it. I feel like I don't feel like there's any culture shock. I mean, sometimes there are like some expressions in Italian that I use in Italian and I want to find the English equivalent to it, but there isn't an English equivalent. So, okay, that's a thing. But I feel like I really appreciate LA a lot more than I did in the past. And that's something that I'm grateful for. I feel like I did need to have this type of, experience here to be able to come back here and be able to appreciate it more.
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to give your father, your mother's company, your company a plug real quick. Uh,
Okay, thank you.
your family owns. I didn't know if they want me to or not. We're talking about you, but the Earth Cafe. Um, if you haven't been to an Earth Cafe, if you haven't heard it, I know we've got listeners all over the world in many countries. When you go to LA, you've got to go to an Earth Cafe. Earth Cafe is this it's like where everybody from around the world that comes to want to be in entertainment or live in California, there's it's a world within itself, and you got to experience to understand what I'm talking about. But Earth Cafe is like the hip place to be, the cool place to be, the very best quality coffee, and there's a whole story on that, and we'll go into it. But you definitely Earth Cafe is like a microcosm of the world, I think, in the very best ways. And so cool that your family has established such a iconic um, business that so many people that believes in so many ethical philosophies and agendas, and you're the daughter of that family and you grew up in that, and you wanted to get away from it, but now coming home it must be nice too,
Yeah.
because your business really is an LA Southern California business, and a home for so many people
Oh,
every single day.
that's really
um,
cute.
okay, let's take this break. We're going to go out with Somewhere. Do you want to set that up at all?
This is Somewhere from
Uh-huh.
West Side Story by Leonard Bernstein, and I think West Side Story is one of the most beautiful musicals to be, you know, in history. And so I hope you guys like and enjoy my rendition of it.
It's beautiful. Okay, we're going to listen to that in 1 second. I want to first tell you about this concert that's coming up. You got to get your tickets now. Golda, you're offering 30% off right now because it's in the last week or so for the concert. I
Yeah.
know it's you got to get your tickets because I know it's selling out. It's award-winning soprano Golda Zahra returns from Italy for a groundbreaking debut concert. She's been hailed as one of the rising stars of her generation and a promising young opera singer by the Los Angeles Times. Soprano Golda Zahra is proud to announce her homecoming debut concert at the Broad Stage in Santa Monica on Saturday, July 13th, 8 p.m. Again, I'm going to be there. Come look for me and say hi. You got to get to this concert. It's an unforgettable evening as Golda and the Dream Orchestra, conducted by Maestro Daniel Suk, perform the opera music of Puccini, Verdi, Rossini, as well as Broadway classics, including The Sound of Music, West Side Story, and so much more. Golda Zahra with the Dream Orchestra, conducted by Maestro Daniel Suk. Saturday, July 13th, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. The Broad Stage. It's on 131 11th Street, Santa Monica, California. You can get tickets at goldainconsert.com. And for media inquiries, contact Shalom Berkman at 310-749-8879 or email him at sberkman@earthcafe.com, SBERKMAN at URTHcafe.com. And you can also visit, again, goldainconsert.com for more information and to purchase those tickets. And Golda, you're offering a very special promotion
Yeah.
on this last week. Tell us about it real quickly.
Yeah, basically it is going to be 30% on all tickets with the promo code ANGEL. So once you guys open my website, you can click on the Eventbrite link. That's going to direct you right away to Eventbrite. And the tickets are ranging from 30 to $50 each. So you could choose or a 50 ticket or a $30 ticket. And then you type in the promo code ANGEL and you'll get 30% off. So I hope to see you guys.
And a beautiful, beautiful venue, beautiful night. Definitely everybody join me there and let's go support Golda. Okay, here we go. Somewhere. We'll be right back.